To Charles and his brothers, the Barnet is king.
All right, dig it.
But it doesn't have to stop with your hair.
You know I never get bored. I'm always part of the action. I drink my coffee, he said, to get satisfaction. The girls are all around. They like my machina. They ask us, guy, why you so fly? We say, Harry or Cortina. Harry or Cortina.
That's what I call full flavour behaviour.
How do you change a successful car like the Ford Cortina to make it better? You put more car between the wheels. You make the track wider to improve the road holding. You lengthen the wheelbase to give a smoother ride and make more space for the passengers without making the car longer. You give it up to 10% more power and a brand new suspension. The beautiful new Ford Cortina. More car between the wheels.
This is the toughest, roughest school the car can go to. The racetracks of Europe. And this is what came out, the latest Ford Cortina. The latest Cortina never forgot what it learnt. And it brings the road holding, performance, maneuverability and stamina of a race car to your everyday motoring. Cortina is big inside, compact outside. Beautiful too, with many different body options, lots of different engine options and others, like automatic transmission. Cortina is the car that won prizes, lots of them. Now it's too busy winning friends. Ford Cortina, more car between the wheels.
Who said this about what company? They have the knack of producing the right car at the right time. It was Motor Magazine, the company Ford, and this was the car, the new Ford Escort Popular, a car designed by Ford to help protect the battered motorist from rising costs. But how does Ford know what the motorist wants? Very simple, they ask. Refreshing, isn't it? And having asked Cortina, Capri and Granada drivers, this is the result, the new added value Fords. Take this Ford Cortina. They've added features like heated rear window, fabric seats, servo brakes. Total added value, £89. Nothing added to price. This Capri gets £145 worth of added features. Nothing added to price. And the new 2-litre Granada. £71 worth of added features over the old console for the same price. The new added value Fords.
Okay, we're in, guys. Welcome aboard. We've got an interior light. Wow, let's have a party. Okay, so we're aboard. A little bit of an update going on. We're in the two-door GXL, as you know. I think you saw earlier on, we've got a full electric situation going on with the car.
Material about terrorism in the university's library.
We've got electrics on. We've got side lights. We've got dash illumination. We've got a clock keeping good time. We've got a speedo works, rev counter works. We've got a automatic gearbox, as you know. Centre gauges are all running. We're going to take you through on a fire up now. We've got the engine unseized. A little bit of fuel, and you're good. A little bit of pump on the accelerator. Okay, took a little bit then, but probably flooded it. So we're up there, ticking over nicely. I've changed the back box because that was hold, so it's a bit quieter. Engine sounds really good. We'll go and have a look at the engine in a minute. We'll just drive you up and down the drive. We've got a high beam. A couple of bulbs are out. We've done them. We've got indicators. Again, a couple of earths are out on the indicators, but not a lot. Wiring wise, I haven't done much. Cleaned up a few earths, changed some bulbs, a couple of connectors. Fuse box was a little bit corroded, but on the whole, minimal work was done. We've got hazards. We've got a heated rear. Main headlights are running. That's about it. Oh, we've got heaters. And we're nice and hot, and well, the engine warms up anyway. Cigarette lighter sticks in, but it doesn't matter. Just going through a few things. Even the glove box is lighting up. So loads of little goodies running. So if we've got brakes as well. Replaced the brake lines. The master cylinder freed it off. The seal was a bit leaky on the reservoir seal, but I took the reservoir off, cleaned the rust up, and replace the seal, and that locks on and holds the fluid. New brake lines on, new copper brake lines on, and the calipers unseized. And now if we go for drive, car lurches in and off we go, no problem. Just set off and drive. And there's our brakes coming in now as I'm on my foot, the brakes there. Then hit reverse and back we go in reverse. I'll pan you around to see what's going on. It sounds smooth. So I'm driving about. In theory I could open those gates now and we could go for it. I could just hit the open road. There we go again. Loads of power. Engine smooth. I think the brake discs themselves still rusty, it's juddering a bit on the brakes. So gauging up there, so fuel, we're on with the fuel tank as well. Alternator there and oil pressure there. Oil pressure dances a little bit. I don't know if that's just the gauge or the pump's oscillating, but it's a good pressure, but it bounces. So let's listen to the bad boy a pop. sounding better with that exhaust being fixed. There's the fuel cap, filler and key. We're clean in there now. I don't think you can see it, but you can, if you have a torch, you can actually see inside the tank, and there's no debris in there. There was some mucky fuel in it which I pumped out. So there we are at the back. Now listen to this, it does sound a nice note. No, that's the original carburettor, nothing done to the carb. I've done the timing and the points, that's it. Changed the oil, flushed it out, flushed all the water system through. There's our lights. Not that any of this particularly matters for the restoration, but it's interesting just to see it. I'll just stick you on high beam. So I could book it for an MOT and take it there and legally drive it down the road. I've got insurance for it, so there she is there. Listen to that engine though, doesn't that sound nice? Now you wouldn't think it's not been running since that amount of time, 83. Okay, there's your donkey. No smoke when it starts up, no smoke when it's running. Really sounds sweet. No over pressure, it's holding its pressure. Replaced one of the hose clips, there's a hose clip loose, see it there, new hose clip on, that's all that needed. There's no other leaks. Oh, new radiator cap. Alternator, because it was missing the alternator. And there you can see I've blanked off to the rear brakes, so just running on the front brakes. Brake pad. And you see where it used to be leaking, but I fixed that leak, so reservoir's good. Now look at these inner wings. It's got that smell, that old smell in here, and mixing with the hot air coming out the heater. It's real nice. So put it on full power, and you're up there. It's warm. It's you just want to go and drive it, you know. So this is your inspection video. Welcome aboard for Friday night. Okay, so you shot through, of course, but going underneath. I can take you underneath. I think the camera will pick up. Let's have a little look. I should be on ramps for you really, but this is just a bit of a spur of the moment video. I just thought I'd just throw it up tonight. Now, your floor to edge. These are my fingers on the floor to edge. Look at that along there. Now you'd expect that to all be gone, but I'm there. I mean, I've seen a lot worse on later cars. I've got an edge to work to. It's not all crumbled away. And then your chassis legs, let's just extend the camera. I'm going to hold my arm out with the camera. The chassis got some holes, only in one place. It's not completely crumbled away. Even the forks at the back, it's never been plated. I can't see any welding on it. There you go, you can see it on this shot. Look, have a look at that back chassis fork. See what you think. You know, you're not gone. And it's not crumbly inside. It's not crumbly out. I'm trying it. I've been tapping around, and I'm struggling to find anything that's crumbling on the chassis forks themselves. Okay, so good about that. Really happy about that. But even the remains of the jacking point there. Look. Okay, you're gone there, but okay, I'm not bothered about a quarter. I'm not bothered about in and out of sills. It doesn't worry me that much. Go to the engine bay, even these doors. Okay, so you lose it in that bottom, but those holes that you normally get under here aren't there. Look, what we got? We got it. Oh yeah, we're gone there, aren't we? Let's face it, we're gone there. Yeah, you've gone underneath your door. But not ridiculous. You know, I'd expect it to be a lot worse than that. Wings, okay, fine. I'll tell you about the wings. Bonnet I'm not bothered about. You've got yourself a really good grill. No pitting on this grill. Look. That's going to come up a treat. Right, so your inner wings. Right, they've gone at the usual bits at the front. But, inner wing and bulkhead, behind there, and I've had the heater out, there's nothing, there's no hole, and there's nothing there behind that, where they normally go in that corner. Looking through the scuttle too, can't see anything through that scuttle. I've been looking and prying and poking, can't see anything. Even the hinge mount brackets that normally just disappear off aren't even touched, look. Right, heater box is in good order. Engine we know about. Brake servo works, really good sharp brake servo. And the master cylinder's operational, no leaks. So there's a hole in that hinge top, but and there's nothing here, even under the fuse box which I've had up. It's just nothing. It's just some light corrosion. Behind them backing plates, there's nothing. Slam panel could be holed underneath the wing there, but don't know about the slam panel. It's okay. It's not bad. Bonnet down. Underneath here, we knew those jacking points were still there, but they're crumbly. We've got some holing through, but then it stops on the A panels, and the A panels are good. Now, where you normally your feet would normally go, you normally get a big hole there. There isn't one. Front chassis leg's shot there, and that's making the car slightly move on the frame. When I'm braking, I can feel the assembly moving, but it doesn't matter for the show, as you can appreciate. It's just to get it in and out the arena. And then quarter, obviously the big problem for me is the roof. Look at this, holes in your roof, but 4-door roof skin will go on. The gutter channel area is a problem if it's gone, because a 4-door gutter channel area is different. So you wouldn't be able to use that if indeed that's gone, which I bet you it has. We might have to work out something for that. Round to the back. Well, you're going to need upper and lower valance, a boot floor, inner rear valances, and the quarter inner rear valances, but that's pretty standard work and not mega hard to get them panels. Okay, so that again, that's not a big deal to me. Dipping this, stripping this and dipping this it'll be good fun. Nothing worries me about it, because I don't have to do the bulkhead. That's a big saving. Yes, the roof, but it's going to be pretty much the same procedure as Swampy was, so familiar territory. So that's where we're at with it. Quick walk around for a Friday night, quick video. Let's listen to that. So, what do you think? Let's go passenger side. It sounds nice, doesn't it? You know, I think we're halfway there, aren't we? It's going to be good fun, this one. We've got to mingle it in with Ruby, of course, the 4-door project, but really enjoying it. Can't help but keep coming in and out of the car because I just want to sit in a nice warm interior. And look how stable that is. Project Bramble, the long-awaited series begins as we start to strip down this engine bay. We're going to go and degrease that bay, step back and have a look just before we start pulling this car to pieces. It's finally here. You've been waiting long enough, so I'm going to hand you over to the engine bay now. We're going to strip and clean. Let's go. Okay, that's one pass over with a geyser. Now a bit more geyser, put in the liquid feed of the gun this time. So one last douse just to get everywhere. Great way of applying it, just using the gun. like the beginning of that Madness video, Return of the Lost Palmer 7, when they write the name of the video. So signing off the car as he goes on the journey. Look at this wing. Oh, I found that in the stores. New old stock. I know. What I'm trying to do is milk it. I'm trying to milk it with them. All right. Just like waiting for someone to say, does it have that many wings on that? Sneak that one in. Is that? Yeah. So well, they have them at the back as well. You see, sort of, when you're driving in reverse. Well, I'm going to say to him, is that still rolling? Yeah. Yeah. Keep this on. Anecdotes. I'm going to say to him, there's that little metal on it, I've got to get value for money. Because you could say, do we pay less if it's like there's nothing left of it? So I thought, well, maximise your potential and stick as many wings in as we can. Should be 3 or 4. 3. A little bit of jigging and poking. Well, yeah, hope you've had your tetanus jabs. Bramble Easy Steer. Now with a new Easy Steer system. Wider track. 5-point crank. No, how much?
Stopping it, mate.
Is that a Capri? Is that the GLS? GLS model? My dad had one of them, mate, a Capri.
Right. Well, we'll put it here.
It's a wobble and release.
You got it up, yeah?
Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, we are.
Right, roll it back.
What's that?
Right, you're on board now. No, it's the thing in the middle, Paul. Oh yeah, just lift it. You got it?
Looks flat screwy in it goes.
Right,
Smash it in.
Computer controlled.
Sounds serious already.
With monitors in your shoot, we don't want it to.
I've just done. Don't walk away, don't walk away. Not too late.
angle up a little bit. That's it. Put the timing up. That's it. I do this. I'll get away from you on that. I'm really pushing now, do you? Put it on 4, Phil, to get the pictures. Got to follow the shot. Take the bus rails off the front, yeah. Take everything on it. You're my best mate.
I think she just said walk away then on the radio. Yeah. Oh my god. Don't walk away, don't walk away.
It's going to explode this when we wash it.
I said speed, it's not too late to walk away.
Nothing to see here. Now to see here, move along. Control. Yep. Right you are. Come on. Control. Cortina section scramble! Oh no, I forgot the keys. Keys. And the helmet. Chelsea, the helmet. Hey, the helmet. You can't go in there. I need the helmet. Health and safety. We've got to get the dippers. Come on. So now we've put the wings on, quite a big jump there, and the grille on, and this is to get the upper front valance panel in the correct place. What you're looking for is an even gap. So mock up, put the cross member back in if we hadn't, I think we had took it off just earlier, put it back in, put the top upper valance on, and then put the wings on and make sure that everything's right before you start finalising, and the spot welder comes out. Glad to see that making a return. Must admit, I do enjoy using a spot welder. This is getting derusted again, so we don't worry about that. They're good, clean pieces of metal. Cross member's off. Now I think we're gonna offer it back up. We've got a few spot welds in. You'll see how this fits now. So I have to slightly under tension, so I have to feed the left-hand side in first. But what I'm doing before I do that, that's the wire wheel. We're cleaning the areas where the spot welds are going to be, to assist with the spot weld. And that's what I don't quite get, because you put in weld-free primer and the spot welder doesn't do as good a job as when it's totally clean. It's really, really good when the metal's clean. Rubber hammer on this just to stop it denting it. Push it back a bit, knock it back. You can see how it slots in nicely, but as I said, marked up as a Mark III. No way that's a Mark III panel. You see the curves at the front of it? They should just be like a crescent shape, and they're not. They've got an indentation in it. Completely threw me for a while. You see those 3 circles in the middle? Well, they're normally only on early Mark III panels. So even facelifts have squares. So Mark III's, facelift Mark III, they become squares, which is exactly why when I bought this on eBay, I didn't even look to think of those front sections where it fits the lower front of the fitting. Always have your gloves on when you're using the spot welder, because the ends get very hot and you can easily forget. Up of arcs going back on. This guides itself really. I already have had this fitted earlier on, if you saw in part 5, and you use it as a chassis leg reference piece to make sure it's sat across the 2 front chassis. That view underneath will probably show a few spot welds that have gone in already. Then checking the distance. So we fit the grille. What you want to do is just make sure, I mean, you know, we have messed with the front legs, but I wouldn't have thought that affected this because I haven't altered this the chassis. It's been completely factory, but it has had a front end crash, so you don't know for sure that things had moved, you know, in the history of the car, if you will. So you never know, you know, you can never assume anything. You've just got to go with what you've got and then check it. Now it's a bit crude using a pen top, but it works. The thing does guide itself. There goes another beer top. So we just want to make sure nothing's drastically wrong before we start making big commitments with panels. You'll see that right hand side chassis got a slight lean on it. That's just the way they are. Do you know what? Them wings just fell into place and everything landed right. Probably the easiest front end I've done. Everything just guided itself. Grill in, and then the headlamps in to make sure that they sit bang on in the middle of the grill, which they do. There are some second-hand headlamp bolts, and there's our lower valance in from Express Panels. Express steel panels make that, and they do a blooming good job. Really, really, you know, I mean, I went down there, you'll see the film. I just can't believe what they do. I didn't think you could get half of these panels till I went there, and I found out how much stuff you can get from them. Nice clean spot welds, they went in really good. The spot weld just made the right shape, they bit nicely, it went straight through, it was a rock solid job. I was well pleased with that. Now there's the brackets, see that silver colour? I've sliced back the original ones, the Mark IV ones, with that crazy panel that was wrong, that reject panel, and fitted these pieces which Express Steel Panels made me based on their template, which is based on the original Ford. And they are used to attach the lower front in one of its areas anyway. This is a measurement to check the height. This assumes that the floor's level. It's only a rough guide. The important guide is getting a square. If you use 2 reference points, in this case the front, the mount holes next to the bulkhead for the wing bolts, across to pick a corner. Obviously this end was grafted in, you can see the ground back metal where the piece is grafted in. So I was looking at 151. I want 151 on both opposite corners. That gives you a square, which would tell me is because the car has had the crash. Don't forget that. But I did get 151 corner to corner perfectly. Go arc it across, and it lands on 151 in the corner position. I was totally happy with that. Nothing better than getting some spot welds on the go. Around we go for plenty of spot welding. A whole lot of rosy. Heavy little item. Go in the gym helps. Grab, push, and away you go. Sometimes it'll spark, other times it'll just go straight through. It's so satisfying. So we're building the front end of Bramble, and we're having fun doing it. We've checked, double checked, measured again, lined up, moved, altered, bashed, bent, twisted and welded till we got what we wanted. Although I must say I didn't really have to do a lot. There was no major issues with alignment. Cleaning just the areas for the rest of the spot welds, just to help get penetration on the spot welder. Starting to look like a front end now, guys. I'm sure you agree, guys and girls, I'm sure you agree. Starting to get its face back, and we're pushing back all the time. Start at the front and push back into the car, get rid of the rust. Bang the spot weld in, why not? Give me a spark, baby. Oh yeah, look at that. Back of the net.
Welcome to Cortina City, where safety is #1 priority.
So looking cleaner, and we're going to get that into that. Be fun. Actually fits in quite nice. You know, we've seen us mocking it up there. We were quite happy. Oh, that top panel for it's just laying in the car. That's shot blasted as well. That'll need a little bit of TLC. A couple of holes have appeared since it's been soda blasted, which I thought there might be. Let's go and have a look at it before we sign off, just so you know where we left you. Lower bulkhead panel, nothing to do to that, nicely cleaned up, look. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, here, okay, so it didn't disintegrate. A couple of peppered holes appeared, we'll fix them. Other than that, it survived quite well. So, we're in with this panel. Quite good. Just a few little repairs to do there on it. And we can get that on top and get the whole lot fitted. Okay, some primer on there. This is the Techno-Grip stuff. It's good stuff. It'll go straight onto shot blasted metal, which is what we had. Some of it's coming off again because the car gets re-blasted anyway, but there'll be areas in it that they won't be able to get to. They need the paint on them first, just so that, you know, the clean down won't get in the nooks and crannies. So while we've got that top panel off, and I didn't want it to flash rust, it also gives us an idea of the condition as well. So don't think this is any paint job as such, it's just to hold the rust off while I'm working on this bulkhead, and also so that I know what I'm up against, if there's any imperfections in it. So that's good. Just putting that up. We've got to get that top panel sorted next. We'll do that. We'll see that there's little dents and stuff around here. That's for the body shop people to do, where we've bashed and joined. In fact, you can see the join line there. So that'll have to be skimmed. There's no rot, it's just the best we could get. That line will need little bits of filler in it to get that edge just smooth, get that corner. A few bits, nothing, no big deal. This, as I said, needs those localised repairs. There needs end caps, and that can get painted and placed in position. We use this bulkhead closing plate to make sure the holes line up and that this goes in the right place. There'd be nothing worse than if you set this down and it wasn't in line with the holes. So that gives us reference points. It will have to go on in two halves. We won't get the dash attached as one piece because the brackets won't clear, so we're going to have to spot weld it in this position, which can still be done as long as this top panel's off, and then the top panel will be plug welded on. So that's how we'll do that, because I don't think we'll get the spot welder in when that's on. It doesn't look like it. There's not enough room. So the panel, in we go there. There's a little bit of braze to take out, then that'll sit straight in. But you can see that I haven't done anything except just to physically just place it down. So that will help us with the bulkhead as well. You can see it just starts to raise up a little bit. These are never flush fit, they always have a little bit of a lip. That'll just simply push back. In fact, I've only got one hand, but you'll see, look, it just goes. Then we clamp and we can spot weld nicely on there. Okay, I'm just using these handy little blocks. I say it every time, I've done a lot before. Down they go, stack that on top of the other, and then to get my flush fit, I'm just getting both panels to land on them blocks, and then I'm just tapping down between the gaps. So just going along getting me tapped as I go. And move along a little bit. Nice and flush that now. Okay, that's the first phase done, and I can report back and say it's very flush. Doesn't wave around anywhere, it follows the profile completely. Using them blocks, as I said, gotta watch out, it's still hot. Just use these blocks to help me, and I started off with some of these clamps. They're called butt weld clamps, B-U-T, weld clamps. You have a little bar, goes through the bottom, like this, and that goes through the thickness of the panel that way. So that's going through the two pieces of metal, and then you clamp it from the other side, and it keeps an even distance of 1 mil for your butt welding, and also clamps the metal straight together. So they can be handy in certain circumstances. I can use them to set our route off here. Boom. And boom. 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 That's it.
Welcome to Cortina City, damn.
Right, you're up there, I'm down here. We have a panel. I think I've got everything covered. So this is quite a big job now to get this. It's got to be right, so we don't want the seam seal to cure. It's got a good few hours, so we can manipulate a little bit. Let's start by getting the prepared panel in position initially. Grabbing my hands in the middle. Are we the right way around? Yes, we are. I would say get the middle right first. What do you think? I'm just going to angle you up. It's going to just alter a little bit. Right, just popped it there. I'm going to clamp in the centre once I've got the closing panel. Now let me just find the closing panel. Got the bolt for it. Here it is. So this is the closing panel. It's has foam sealant round there, and it forms the airtight seal. It's to get your wiper in, so you can get your hand and put your wiper spindle. So we place it here. I pop a bolt in just to keep it in position. Okay, panel's in, okay, and now I want to go in the middle of the skull, here, and then work my way outwards, and I can see that's going to be alright there. I'm happy with that. Will our sealant make it? You never know. Just really could do with more sealant on there. That's why we never see. You might get it and heat the box out. The sealant's good, but we need a thicker band. Let's get it out. Good, but we need more. Right, before we finally fit the scuttle, it's got a couple of spot welds in. It's not too late to take it off, but it's check, check, check again, check again, check again. This time we want to check that we've got the bonnet. This is the new old stock bonnet. It's painted red, but it was off the Portuguese shell. Now the Portuguese shell was a good source of panels, but it was T-boned. It was stuffed in the middle of the shell, and all the floor was rippled. There was no engine in it, no logbook, and it was destined for scrap. And that's why I cut a good shell up, and it wasn't a good shell. It just had loads of good panels on the shell. The actual floor pan needed a floor pan. It needed everything. It was left-hand drive. It had no engine. It had no logbook. You wouldn't get that. Effectively, it had to be broke. So that is the answer to that question. Some people are asking why put all that car and then onto this. It's a source of parts that would have been scrapped if I didn't have bought it, for sure. It had a new bonnet, a new boot, new doors, new roof, new wings, quite a lot of stuff which I took off it. Luckily most of it was unboltable, and most of it was badly migged on. The thing was just falling apart. You'll see on earlier films the Portuguese car getting cannibalised, and it's been a great source for this car. So while we're on with spot welding, the scuttle panel, we're looking for parallel lines. So just in case the scuttle's skewed, I doubt that it is because it follows this edge line here. However, it's best to check. So I've rested the bonnet just on the same point on each side of the scuttle, and you'll see that the line goes down parallel and lands at the same place on the other side. Let's go and have a look and make sure. The impact point, touch point, is just the same. So that line, whilst it opens up, they all do, this one's actually not too bad, it's reasonably parallel. Destruction. Wasn't really sure what was going on. And then we came back and we were different. And everybody wants to know how exactly was going to happen. We did what we had to do. Body shop goes back on this. This is shot blasted back. These areas don't get shot blasted back, but any visible paint area that's to do with the final finish of the car is blasted back, and then the body shop choose the primer that they want. This isn't going anywhere. It's having Gravitex on it, the same underneath the wing where we started to do some filler over any welds. There's a little bit of filler to put on. Can you see where the raised edge of that weld is? So we want to hide that. Little bits like that I've been doing. I've run some filler into the ski jump there, just to the left, my finger, and a little bit over that side. And then this has just had one to hide that joint. You can see it, just there. So sand that back. You could just feel the weld ridge. But again, I'll point that out to the guys in the body shop and tell them I've sanded down the filler on the transmission tunnel line and then just etched it. So you can see in most of the places you lose it completely. There's still a little bit of sanding to do. You reveal a bit more when you put the primer on. It starts to show, but on the whole it's disappearing off.
Most of this has got tar pads on it. Here I can just feel it a bit. It's how far you want to decide to go with that. You can take your pick on how far you want to go with it. I might just go over it one more time. I think it's not that critical. It's nice to get it seamless. It's just how far you can do another day on that if you want. Then you start going beyond your original spec of what you was going to do with the car. So we'll keep our eyes on things like that. So that's it. We need to get the cross member repaired now. So I'm going to bend some sheet steel with a right angle on it, then weld it in, and just profile it out. It's got little curved edges on the edges of the flange, little rounded corners. Then we'll fit it, then we'll brace up, and then weld it in place. We need to get to mark its position on the floor, then put the weld through primer on, and it's a plug weld for that all the way along, and then we've got even more strength. And from that point, from the handbrake, we're at full strength. Well, maybe the roof's just forward of the handbrake perhaps, and you can get some flex on that. Watch the roof go, watch this. You can get it. I can compress the tops that naturally you would be able to. If you've lost that strut, that reinforcing strut, you're going to be able to compress those together. It's the similar thing you'd get if you're doing a Crayford, and they don't have a roof on them. So you can get away with it. It's not going to make the car bend, but we need to get that locked in position. We'll make sure that we measure the windscreen aperture exactly right. It's a very easy measurement to take, the windscreen one. When we put this cross member in, we'll make sure that we've got an average windscreen aperture reading, which is easy to get. I've got a couple of cars I can get that off. Indeed, we might have it on our tech sheets. I don't think I've mentioned the Ford body shop tech sheets here with all our dimensions on. They're not Ford actually, oh yeah, they are Ford. So yeah, we've got that, and yeah, I think that's it. Clean from the inside. Look, the sill looking great. Okay. Wow, are we moving or are we moving? Okay, so the cross member, you saw us prepping it, you saw us welding it. Whoops, I've dropped a biscuit. Biscuits. Yep, we did that. We welded it in. I used, to finish it, you can see I've just left one off there. I went over the weld heads after I knocked them down with Dolphin Glaze, the liquid one, and you can see it over here as well, where the seat belt is. Any pits that were left, you almost drip it in. It's a liquid filler, self levels and a light skim, and you're off. So that hides the seat belt and the seat mount bolt brackets, which you saw us welding in as well recently. Then go over with etch, and then we're going to be sealing all this in paint. And now we can move to the seam sealing operation. So one line already down, that big band that goes over the transmission tunnel, you just use I use a cartridge type seam sealer. For your information, it's called Auto Seal. And then the special stiff bristle brush, which you can clean in thinner, so you can keep on using it. Make sure you have some thinners and leave it in a pot overnight, and then just wiggle it around and you're off. Back with a new brush. Make sure you dry it out before you start. Don't worry about the seam seal finish, because Ford just blasted it on. Indeed, if you look at your car, you'll see how it's just, there's a technique, just drag it, you just drag it along. Usually one hit does it. Try not to go over it the second time, you end up in a mess. So we do that, and it's going to get over painted, of course. We've got to do the same seam seal where the bulkhead meets the lower bulkhead, just there. You can see that I've injected primer into it already, and down this run here, making sure that all your welds are finished before you do. So I went over and checked everything. we went over and finished the A-pillar off, and we made sure we were ready to go there. And indeed, before we do the run, here with the seam seal, we've got to fit this bracket, and that's the next job, just to get that on. Then in case it interferes with the seam seal, it shouldn't do, bump, but just in case, we'll weld that on now and it's done, because this is seam sealed as well while the gun's out. Okay, there could be some heat from it that might burn that seam seal, so we'll get that. Make sure you've no more welding jobs left, it's the last job. Your biscuits go in. These are Bramble's original biscuits, but floor bungs biscuits, because they look a bit like an orange segment or a Trivial Pursuit piece, whatever your imagination lets you run wild with. Insert, clean them up first, insert into your 38mm cutouts if you put a new floor pan in. Then they do take a little bit of jiggery pokery to get in. Just got to push them nice and even and tight with a block of wood. They will go. We've already got one in over that side. In fact, I'll show you the procedure. Make sure you've painted the aperture. Continuous take then. May as well keep the camera rolling. Lighting is good. Sound quality is good. Join me then. And it's basically just, there's nothing to it. It's quite enjoyable. There really is nothing to it. It's so easy. Start there, then twist your brush in a spinning motion. If you want to get it factory, round we go, then scoop a little bit off. That's it. Come on in, let's get this roof off. Okay, boom. That's it, it's off. Crayford, anybody? It's quite surprising how just a thin piece of metal can make such a difference to the car. I say the surface area is big, but the actual, just a flimsy, I say more, not thin, but a flimsy piece of metal makes such a difference to the car. But of course now you can see so much easier the structure of the roof, so we'll go in now and have a look how we're going to start cleaning it up. That's pretty much what we've got to deal with. Up and under we go. You can see now nothing left of that top of that A-pillar the way that it came into the car. And do we get any movement when we move that? We do. So this is where we need to make sure this thing goes back together. A couple of schools of thought are out there about bracing it, but I'm alright. I'll let the roof skin do the talking. Brace it back, of course, but even that flexes a little bit. Okay, so my first job is to get the remnants of this removed to start laying in the new metal. We're going to see how we're going to clean that up now. A bit more investigating and just see what kind of damage we've got going on, what we can actually do. All you people in Patreon and YouTube land, you love Patreon yet? Come on and help, because that helps produce the videos. The more people on Patreon, the easier it is for me to make the films. You'll see why. Okay, here's the next part of the puzzle. This is the rest of our donors section. You might have seen this on previous videos. A yellow car, painted black. Okay. It's not in bad shape, there's a little crease in it there, but we'll straighten that up. The first thing we've got to do with this is get the skin off it, the remains of that skin and rear quarter. And basically we've got to try and detach this gutter section piece and the inner section as well. So we've got to get that off and onto the car. So we're going to start dissecting it. So it's going to be a question of wire wheeling back, quite a bit of crock sanding, and so I can get that repair piece out of there and remove it from the B pillar in one nice piece. We don't need all of it. We need quite a bit of it. So it's all down to working out which bit I've got to need. I've got to get that off. I've got to get the skin off. I've got to remove both sections. Okay, I thought these were spot welded. Roof channels. Oh, good one. What a puzzle. In we go to have a look, and you can see the bottom lip now of the remains of the roof. Now you can get the crocky in there, but you have to cut the belts down so they're thin, and that will enable us to start nibbling away at the remains of that roof lip. It's going to take a while, but we're going to have to do it. So you can see, here it is, hitting its first spot weld up here. Initially I didn't think they were spot welded, but they are. We thought they might have been roll welded, but not. So we've got to start breaking away at this with a very thin crocky belt. The reason it's got to be thin is because we can't hit that imprinted lip in the metal, and it's too wide, the belt of the crock sander. So we have to use very small ones, or very carefully an angle grinding stone. It's a bit more controllable with the spot, with the crock, than it is with a grinding stone. You can just see what you're doing. You get a bit more chance to get any out of the way. It's got to come off. Now this structure looks all right. We've lost it a bit here, but I reckon that can be localized. So we might be able to fill that in with weld. If we don't want to repair that lip, then we've got to cut even more into this. So we have to decide what we want to do. And if the mandate is to save metal, then we should be keeping this and not coming all the way down here. I don't think it's worth taking this out. It's intact. There are some pinholes in it, but not a great amount. It's corroded through around that area just there, but not badly. So I'm going to save that. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to repair this. I'm going to fix them holes. I'm going to put the copper at the back, and I'm going to bring that in like new. I don't think there's any point cutting that out. I think we should just go from this point. You could say, right, let's take the whole lot out. We've got the other piece, but I don't think it's necessary. So let me cut down the belt with scissors, and I'll start chiseling. I'll start eating away at the remains of the roof lip, and we'll peel that out. It's going to be quite laborious. I'm not looking forward to that. Okay, so we're going good there. A little bit, what the hell's going on, because I've never done it before. Not done anything like that before, so a little bit nerve-wracking, I think. Because you think, how long is it going to take to set?
Hello?
We bring you good tidings, sir! Ah! Who is that?
It's the drunken car restorers. I don't believe it. Whoa, what you got for me, boy?
Look at this, look what we've got. I know it's yours already.
Hit me with your best shot.
I'm not going to use it.
Do you recognise this man? If not, the drunken car restorers. Is it .com, Tony, or drunken car restorers? YouTube.
Just on YouTube.
He fixes up old Cortinas.
Put in the drunken car restorer.
Oh,
because I'm the only one.
Please.
We got it the right way around. Look at that.
Who's your mate there in the?
Who's that?
Who is this? It's all very odd. I've had crash helmets and people saying, what the hell's the crash helmet for? There's the crash. Nobody knows what it's for.
Nobody knows what the crash helmet's for.
No, we don't really know, but yeah, okay. I'm all excited. I'm filming all over the place. What do you reckon? What do you think of the show so far, boys?
Rubbish!
It's not good. Bit rude, eh?
Bit rude.
Yes. There's some opportunity knocks here.
There's opportunity knocks.
All doable. You done work.
Hello.
Hey Tony, you left this.
It's a bit holy, Pete.
Yeah. Oh, I'm a religious man.
Well, yeah, I was going to say you need to
This is very holy.
call in the bishop.
Now, the welder's on, as you can hear.
The welder's on.
And I know you was after some panels, so I've been saving you
The welder's on.
some of the cream. Take that home with you.
For me?
Cream of the crop.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Indeed. He only half did.
Thinking of you, I should have wrote that. Thinking of you at this difficult time.
Christmas humbug.
Thinking of Dave at this difficult time. Or is it thinking of Tony with Tony's car? They've all got Cortinas, both these guys. What do you own, Dave? Tell everyone what you own.
You want some cars?
What you got?
What have I got? What have I got? We're working on a Mark III, aren't we? So
Yes, Mark III.
A clone of yours, so it'll be maize yellow, groovy interior. And we've got, what else have we got? My dad's estate car, which we got when I was 12, 48 now. So we've got that one. We've got a Mark V GLS. And I've got a Crayford in pieces, a Mark V car.
Pieces to pieces.
What about Alan?
Well, Alan.
No, you're not. That's not Alan. That's Tony.
Who's this Alan?
His reg is ALN. So
ALN 12Y.
And he's not.
Carbon is what I'm doing at the moment on my channel, and also I've got a 2 litre saloon, and also a Cortina P100.